forget the world.
It is just on 10:09, the 15th of June, the wind and the wave with Chasing Cars. Taking a look at the weather across the country, it is 23 degrees in Islamabad right now, 33 degrees in Lahore, 31 degrees in Karachi, 28 degrees the current temperature in Peshawar, 31 degrees in Quetta, 24 degrees in Gilgit. Just from the Pakistan Met Department, according to the Met Department, we can expect some rain, likely to start, well, from the 16th of June, and I quote from the Met Department, under its influence, the first rainy spell expected in most of Sindh districts. Dust thunderstorm rain at scattered places in Sakar, Larkana, Shikarpur, Jacobabad and Ghotki districts. That's on the 16th to the 17th of June. Dust thunderstorm rain with few moderate heavy falls, especially in Dadu, Sakar and Larkana, Shikarpur, Jacobabad, Hyderabad, Mirpur Khas, Umarkot, Thar, Badin and Thatta districts. In all districts of Sindh, during the 17th to the 19th of June. Karachi may also receive some dust thunderstorm rain on the 18th and 19th of June. So that's the weather update. Monsoon season kind of here, really. We got a very special guest joining us this morning, and if you are stuck in traffic somewhere, just by the way, make sure you keep us posted on the WhatsApp number. Super excited to be speaking to our guest this morning. Why? Because we're talking about something that is innovative, something it almost feels like I've always felt this, like there's something bubbling, there's something in the cauldron, and it's being stirred and it's bubbling, and it's so good, excited to see what's to come. Joining us right now is the CEO and founder of Abhi. Abhi is a Karachi-based startup that provides employee salary advances based on accrued wages. They've raised about $2 million for their seed round. The funding round, which was led by VEF, the emerging market fintech investor, also included a number of international and local investors, including Village Global, Sarmayakar, I2I Ventures, Zen Capital, and Portman Wills, the co-founder and CEO of WadeStream, a leading financial wellness platform in the UK. This would be Village Global's first fintech investment in Pakistan. To talk about what this is, and there's a lot of discussion about financial inclusivity. We've got Mr. Omair Ansari joining us live here in the studio. Good morning, Omair, and thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's quite a mouthful, and it's almost like, wow, what's going on? So before we get into financial inclusivity and how that be made possible here in Pakistan, when we talk about what Abhi does, when someone says, what do you do exactly? What's, in layman's terms, what do you do?
In layman terms, we get you money when you need it, is essentially our focus. Okay. Our whole thing is that people need access to financing, and we want to be there when you need us most. And that's our whole journey and what we want you to be able to do.
Yeah. So, as I read in the intro, so it is salary advances. So, simple example, my salary runs out in the middle of the month. 2 weeks to go, even more, till I get my next paycheck. And so that 2 weeks where I'm essentially at 15 rupees, for example, you then help them by bringing their salary forward?
Exactly.
A portion or the entire?
So at first we're doing 50% of your accrued salary, and the whole idea is that exactly happens. People live paycheck to paycheck, and really there are only three ways for you to be able to meet your interim financing in between right now. So one is you go to your family and friends and say, listen, can you give me some cash? I need some. And the problem is that family and friends stop being your family and friends if you keep on doing that. So people try to avoid
you know what they
that.
do? They'll call each other, did Khalid call you? He called me again.
Exactly.
Tell the guy to get his socks, his act together. Okay, so
that's like option number one, which majority of people try and do, right? Yeah. But it's not ideal from numerous perspectives, like you said. Two is if you're lucky enough to have a bank account, then you go to your bank and you apply for a loan, but that takes like 45 to 60 days to get approved, so that doesn't meet your immediate requirement right now. Also on that is if you have a credit card. Now, there's only 1 million credit cards in the entire country for 240 odd million people, of which only 500,000 are unique. So a lot of people don't have access to a credit card to meet their financial needs right there and then. And the third is you go to your employer and say, listen, I've run out of cash. I need to access my salary in advance. Can you please give me advance? And then at the end of the month, take it out from my tankha. That's also problematic, right? Because it's an administrative process, and then you also don't want to keep on going to your boss and being like, hey, can I have some money? Then it looks bad. It's embarrassment, right? Yeah. So the whole idea is that it shouldn't, financial stress is a real thing for everyone, not just in Pakistan, across the world. But the idea is you shouldn't feel financial stress when at the end of the day, you work today, so you deserve to be paid today. So why should you wait till the end of the month to be able to be paid on something you've done today? And then when you feel these stresses, it affects you mentally. I mean, one thing out of COVID we've known is mental health is a huge issue that we have to be focusing on. And financial wellness is why we call ourselves a financial wellness what we want to be a financial wellness platform for Pakistan, because not only we want to make sure that your immediate needs are fixed, but we also want to make sure that along the way that you are financially prudent and investing and building up a savings buffer along the way so that you in the future don't have to keep on stressing about your finances. It puts a lot of mental burden on a lot of people, and we don't think it should be the case.
Couple of things that you mentioned there, but before I pick on those, so who then provides that window? That is it?
It's us.
That's you guys,
it's us,
right?
So what we do is we come in, we tie in with your employer, and we say, listen, we will take care of everything. So you, as an employee, have access to an app, or we have a USSD feature. At any time in the month, you'll be able to open up the app or send in a message to the USSD feature, and you'll see how much money you've made so far. And then instantaneously, you'll be able to access that amount. And we'll send that directly to you into your bank account, your wallet, and then at the end of the month, it's taken out from your salary. So you don't have to worry about any of the logistical aspects.
So that 2 weeks you've paid me now,
yeah.
But when the salary does come in, it's minus those 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. And okay, gotcha. Got it. And I'm just thinking. So again, I like it when you talk about financial wellness, because it could be this vicious cycle that keeps repeating then, and I think to be able to talk about financial wellness, okay, you've got these 2 weeks now, but are you going to repeat this again and again? I mean, do you know what I mean? It's human nature that they fall into this net. Oh, I'll get it.
Yeah. And look, the idea is that's why we're doing it first 50% of your accrued salary, because we don't want you getting into a debt trap.
Correct.
Again, why we're a financial wellness platform.
Right.
We could easily go and say, we'll give you 100%, but we know that causes problems, because then you're constantly relying on this. We want you, if we fast forward 3 years from now, I want our platform to not actually, our main revenue driver should hopefully not be this product. Because we want people to start investing money. We want people to start having savings. Why are you in this predicament? It's because you don't have savings. So how do I build you on the financial ladder so that you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck anymore? Yeah. That is our goal. But obviously we have to focus on the first problem first before we start pushing you into other areas to be able to fix your financial needs.
It's such a sore spot. Money management, money matters here in Pakistan. I feel like the majority fall into a group where they've got these self-sabotaging beliefs when it comes to money, and it's so cool to see that there is someone who is looking out for them with a view to say, listen, we want to educate you about money. And so this is what we're about. And I think that's super cool. What we're going to do, Omair Ansari joining us here, founder of Abhi. We're going to be back. We're going to go to a break. We'll come back. We'll talk more. If you have any questions, by the way, 0315-111-9191. It's 10:21. Joining us this morning is CEO and founder of Abhi, a Karachi-based startup that provides employee salary advances based on accrued wages. Very interesting. At the outset, you were talking about, we were talking about there's a lot of financial inclusivity and how, compared to the population of Pakistan, the access to banks is limited. Give us the challenges there, because what you're saying is that a majority of the population don't have bank accounts, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So 240 million people. How many people have bank accounts in Pakistan? If you had to take a guess.
Out of that, I'd say maybe, I'd like to think about 30%, 40%.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Omair's eyes just popped out.
No,
so
retail banking penetration is just around 12 to 15%.
What?
So it's tiny. And if you go even further than that, and this is a specific area we want to focus on as well, part of our platform, female participation of retail penetration when it comes to banking is less than 3%.
Whoa.
So the idea is that only around 20 million people in the country actually have a bank account. And that's okay, because what's happening now and what we've seen happen in other countries is that what's taken over is the wallet, right? So digital inclusion, and why are we doing this, and why are we doing this in a digital way? Because in order to bring people on into financial inclusion now, you no longer need a branch, right? Branch is your phone is your branch.
Correct, yeah.
So if you look at, for example, in Kenya, so M-Pesa is the digital wallet for Kenya. They have more subscribers, therefore customers, than any of the banks combined.
Wow, yeah.
And they're the source of banking for the average person in Kenya. So our idea is that we can skip the whole physical layout of going out and spending on building out branches, etc. Everyone has a phone already. So now we can provide credit to them through their phone. And that's all that people really need.
Easy to use, because I mean the other thing too is with conventional sort of banking is it's a pain to open an account.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of paperwork now and the amount of identification that's required. And I understand their perspective, but from a consumer point of view, it's like, wait, no, I'm going to get blood pressure over this. Exactly. So the ease, having a digital account means that it's easy, it's quick, and it's
exactly. It's quick for you. It's quick for you to set up. It's quick for you to get access to your credit, and for us to be able. And look, giving money is always easy. So I think one thing that I don't want to do is bash the banks. Right? Everyone who comes in the fintech industry comes in bashing the banks, bashing the banks. At the end of the day, it's not an easy job, and also they have other priorities when it comes to where they're funding, whether it be the government, etc. However, what we can do is along the way, especially with something like this, is start educating people much easier over their device on what is financial inclusion, what is credit. Touching credit for the first time can be scary. If you give someone a credit card, I'll give you an example. In university, when I got my first credit card, right, I was like, yeah, this is great, $500 limit. But yeah, go out and spend it. And then like 4 years later, I completely forgot about it. And then my dad had to call me and be like, hey, what happened over here? Exactly.
Beta, maturity, beta.
And the idea is you can't just give someone credit just like that and expect them to learn. You have to bring them in a soft manner and then teach them along the way. And that's what we want to do with our application, basically. We want to gamify it. We want them to understand this is, okay, you've taken out 50% of your salary this month. And then as they continue, for example, we'd say, all right, we've noticed you've been taking out, for example, 20,000 rupees a month for the past 6 months. Right? This month, take out 30,000. Of that 30,000, put 10,000 into a savings product we've created for you. Clearly, you don't know how to save properly. So let us help you when it comes to savings. So and
Abhi helps with directing them where to place these funds?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So we want to essentially first focus on this pain point that you have, and then we will slowly educate you along the way of where you should be placing your funds. We want to be a trusted partner. Right? The unfortunate thing is the banks are untrusted. They consider not loan sharks, but it's still considered an untrusted institution, unfortunately, across the country, as well as in other markets. But we want to be your trusted brand. We want to work with you. We want to make sure that you build your financial literacy with us.
I love that, the financial literacy. I think it's amazing. And so the digital wallet is then through Abhi.
The digital wallet will be through Abhi.
Will be through Abhi, right. And when do we see that becoming active? Is that one of the products that
it's one of the future products that we plan to go into?
This is amazing. So as someone who's listening, who is there a minimum do you need to be earning a minimum salary before you're eligible to be a part of this service with Abhi?
No, not at all. So we can go all the way down to minimum wage, which is around 18,000.
I think now it's 20,000. I think the new budget.
Exactly.
I think is and the upper sort of
as much as you want.
Really? Okay.
As much as you want.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to speak to Omair Ansari. This is Khalid, Young, Dumb and Broke. It's Khalid with Young, Dumb and Broke. Been there, done that. Ah, what a time. Omair Ansari joining us this morning, the founder and CEO of Abhi. Now, if people want to get in touch with Abhi and use this, where can they go?
So right now you can go to our website, you can go to our LinkedIn page, social media accounts, etc. But we are coming in on a B2B2C basis. So, which means we're coming to your employer and signing people on in that manner. But we do urge everyone to go and register with us as well, because you deserve this. This should be a perk that your company gives and provides to you. And so the more that we get feedback from you saying, hey, we want this, the more we can go to your company saying, hey, listen, your employee base wants this.
So right now it's Abhi in direct contact with the employer.
Exactly.
And they said, yes, we'll give you the green light, go ahead. And then the employer goes to the employees and says, listen, we've got this new service.
Exactly.
Would you like to be in it if you ever need it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And so how many companies are we looking at right now that have sort of said, yes, we'll...
So we've signed on approximately 25 companies so far, and that list is growing. And we are having access to almost 180,000 employees.
What's the reaction been? I'm curious with some of these companies. What are any surprises or?
So we launched officially end of this month and beginning of next month.
Yeah.
But we've been doing a lot of focus groups and meeting with companies and meeting with people. And there's been surprisingly a lot of support for it. For me, our whole thing as well, I'd say, which surprised me the most was we don't want to come off as predatory in any way. When we look at some of I wouldn't say competitors, but other forms of credit out there, they're charging close to 12 to 15% a month in terms of their interest rates on your essentially whatever you call it, a loan, which we find predatory. I think that's ridiculous. And people don't know any better. So the part where I'd say surprised at is a lot of people are willing to pay a lot of money, which they don't necessarily need to for this service. And we're making sure, we're a business at the end of the day, and we do have to make some money. But we're not looking at this to be predatory in any way. So that's where I'd say when we went around asking people, hey, how much would you pay for getting this in advance? Some of the numbers were ridiculous.
How much who would pay? The individual?
The individual. So, for example, we asked a few people, okay, if you were able to take out 10,000 rupees 2 weeks early or 5 days early than you're required, how much would you be willing to pay? And some people came back saying 1,000 to 2,000 rupees, for example, which
on top of
to access that. And like, no, you don't need to be paying that kind of money to be able to access this. So that's where, again, it comes down to us being very much focused on trust and your financial wellness, because we don't want to be known as the brand that come in and fleeced you. We want to help you with your journey in financial literacy.
And so if companies then want to register, where do they go to the same sort of to the website?
They can go to the website as well, or through our we have contact information on LinkedIn as well, so they can contact us through there. And then our sales team will get in touch with you.
And have you received any interesting objectives? I'm just curious because it's new, right? And I'd imagine at the outset companies would be a little apprehensive. You know, did you receive some of that?
Yeah, some companies said, listen, we do this anyway. For example, we do this as an internal policy. But then when we push back and say, yeah, but how quick is that internal policy? And they're like, it takes about 4 to 5 days, for example, for us to approve it. We're like, well, that doesn't meet the immediate needs. And especially during times of COVID as well, where people are working from home. Imagine you have an emergency and it's on the weekend. Are you going to be able to contact your HR to be able to, or your line manager to get to HR, who will get approval from CFO to be able to get you the money right away? That's not going to happen. And again, why we want to enforce digital. Look, our whole idea is that digital adoption is real. Digital currency will be real. And physical cash, in order to accelerate digital adoption, you need to fix manual pain points. And this is a manual pain point where you're going to be able to do in a digital manner and get it immediately. Imagine it's the middle of the night and your kid needs to go to the hospital and you're shortfall of cash. How are you going to be able to contact your HR, etc., and get access to cash at that point in time? We're going to be able to, through our app, again, you go on, you're like, boom, I need access to it right now, and you'll get access to it. And you'll be able to pay off the bill.
Nice.
So the idea is focusing on real pain points and digitalizing them.
We're talking to Omair Ansari. We're talking about what's to come with Abhi. I just realized it's break time. We're going to head to break. Be back in just a bit. Now, if you'd like to speak to Omair Ansari, 0315-111-9191, or you can call through 021-3452-1596. It's 10:41 here this morning, Tuesday. If you're stuck in traffic anywhere, keep us posted on the WhatsApp number. CEO and founder of Abhi, Omair Ansari, joining us live this morning. And I love it that we're talking about financial wellness and financial inclusion. And we are talking about going digital in Pakistan. I'd imagine it feels like an uphill battle trying to convince everyone, listen, let's head on down to the digital world, because that also in itself can be intimidating, because not many people know how to sort of use their smartphones or don't have access to smartphones. Abhi is working on that too in that regard? Or? So
that's actually, two parts of that. One, smartphone penetration is now closer to 85% of the country.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So smartphone penetration has increased dramatically over the last year.
Well, 85%.
Yeah. So the average person has a smartphone using it. Now, you're right in terms of digital adoption and literacy, though. It's difficult. The average person goes onto their phone and they maybe go to YouTube, or they'll go to WhatsApp.
Yeah, or TikTok.
Or TikTok. Exactly. The uphill battle over here is making sure that you're creating a product that is very simple and easy to use, and then building up across. If you try and throw something at someone which is very confusing, then it's intimidating, like you said. So you'll see soon, our interface is so seamless and so simple, and that's been part of our focus groups, etc., is showing them the app and saying, can you use this? And making sure that they can do it. And we're going to have in Urdu, Roman Urdu, and English, so that the average person can use it.
Yeah.
And then on the first point, in terms of saying, everyone's going to go digital, everyone's going to digital, this is again why we're going this way. So there are two ways of doing this across different countries. There's one, the wallet route, which is saying, I've got a wallet for you where you can put
in this
money.
case, it's the Abhi wallet.
Exactly. For us, for example, we're not launching with wallet first.
No.
So some of our competitors, for example, are focusing on the wallet and saying, here's a wallet which you can put money into, and then you're going to be able to do transactions on the back of it, pay bills, etc. We think that's the wrong way to go.
Okay.
We think that to really have someone adopt digital, you have to fix something that they want right now, and really what people want right now is money. So that's why we're going credit first. You need money, we will give you money. And then for you to be able to adopt what we're doing, and then for us to train you along the way of how to use our system, wallet, when we eventually have a wallet, becomes a lot easier.
I love it.
So we're doing it in a very step-by-step phase and very targeted in terms of how we want to bring people and adopt digital. Because like you said, adopting digital can be daunting unless you make it easy for them to do, and also fixing a manual pain point they do currently.
So now officially launches the 1st of July, correct? And so at the moment there's been a pilot program?
Yes, exactly.
How was that experience?
It was really interesting. So we ran a small pilot with a company with about 400 people, and this was actually without the actual product in hand. What we did is we wanted to test whether people would use a function like this digitally. So we put posters around the office and said, if you want access to your salary early, WhatsApp this number with your account details, and we'll send you the money. And what was really interesting was within 2 to 3 weeks, without any other advertising or trying to inform people, etc., we were able to hit kind of 30 to 40% of the employee base transacting on our platform instantaneously. So that was our whole thing. And I'll rewind a little bit. Why it took 2 or 3 weeks is in the first week when we launched it, we saw a few transactions, but not as much as we thought would happen. And we wondered why. So we ran a small focus group and like, listen, why aren't you doing this? And they said, we don't understand. Like, we don't trust. One does trust. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're just going to give us our earned money like instantaneously? How does that work? So there's one trust factor in saying, where are the hidden charges? Because we are a Sharia compliant product.
Okay.
We're not predatory in terms of how much we're charging, and so the average person is so used to being fleeced when it comes to getting access to credit. Like, where are the hidden charges? Where's the extra 2% over here and the 3% over there? And afterwards, when I apply for 10,000, for example, I only end up with 8. That's something we wanted to avoid. So we said, no. It's exactly what we say. This is the charge. That's it. And like, okay, and it's going to be taken out from my salary. Like, yeah, it'll be just taken out from salary. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to the bank and pay it off. We take away all the administrative annoyance from the process and make it seamless. The moment we ran the focus group and said, this is how it's working, after that, it just picked up really quickly. So that's our whole thing that we've noticed is that as long as you're working with them, and that's why every company we go into...
It's like holding them by the hand, right?
Exactly.
This is so brand new.
Exactly. So every company we go into, we have a proper activation strategy. We come in, we help the average person to understand how to use it, what it is, make them know that they can trust us, and because that's a huge thing. Trust is the most important part of the relationship between us and our consumer.
Absolutely.
So that's what we want to focus on.
I'm just curious. So Omair Ansari sort of moved back to Pakistan, and now your background is finance, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you want to share what you were doing.
Sure.
But what was it and you were abroad in the financial world.
Yeah.
What sort of made you one day think, no, I'm heading back to Pakistan? What was the motivation?
Yeah, so background is most previous was with Morgan Stanley in New York. And I was focused on running 2 funds focusing on fintech and consumer. And before that as well, I lived in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, and again, very much focused on consumer and fintech. What drove me and what really excited me was that we were seeing this happen in other countries. So we had done a lot of investments in companies in Kenya, Brazil, Indonesia, China, India, etc., which are doing something similar and going digital first. And the adoption was happening. And so when I looked at Pakistan then and saw very little coming out from a business perspective from that standpoint, that's when I started doing a lot more homework and realized that there's a huge opportunity over here. And if we don't do it, then someone else will, but you have to sometimes take that leap of faith and jump in and do something. So for me, I've seen this playbook in places like Indonesia, and if I look at 2 countries which are very synonymous, it's Indonesia and Pakistan. Both 240 million plus people, the retail banking penetration at about 15%, and smartphone penetration of 80% plus. But
similar sort of metrics.
Very similar metrics. And in Indonesia, though, you've now got fantastic companies coming out which are focusing on digital-first banking. And in Pakistan, we had very few. So for me, I was like, you know what? It's time to look. I'm not doing this out of charity, and I don't. And this is an important point where I don't believe NGOs, etc., actually fix financial inclusion. When you leave it to public sector, things get lazy. It's actually private sector that fixes credit penetration in these markets. And so that's why I said, look, there's an opportunity over here, as well as there is the social aspect of this. That financial inclusion is a human right. People should be able to have access to credit, and I want to be able to do that for Pakistan and give back to Pakistan. And so that's why I said, you know what, it's time to quit Morgan Stanley. Luckily, we had a strong shareholder base that was able to support us. And I
just had an image in my mind. Omair Ansari exits the airport, hands up to the heavens. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Let's do this. We're gonna head to a break. I just had that vision in my head. Coming back straight after this. It's Normani with Motivation, 5 to 11. Omair Ansari, CEO and founder of Abhi, launches on the 1st July. I'm so excited before you, man, I don't know, I feel like I founded the company. I don't know why. But I think I'll tell you why I'm excited, because I feel like, there are minds like yourselves that can see, listen, there is something that we can do here to improve our lives, the lives of people. It just excites me. So thank you, from one creator to another, because I creative minds, and we need creative minds here in Pakistan. So thanks so much. So launches, now if companies want to get in touch with you and find out more, where can they go?
So they can go to our website, they can go to LinkedIn, they can contact us at, I wouldn't say jobs, but there's contact at abhifinance.pk. You can email me directly, Omair at abhifinance.pk. There's all those forms for you to be able to contact us.
I love it. And if you're listening and you work for a company and you think, my company needs to be on board with this, go to them now and say, listen, check out Abhi. And now, is there anything that we've left out? The mic is yours, as they say.
No, look, I think it's super exciting space to be in. I think one thing that's happening, and it's happening at the underbelly, and not written about much, but the amount of foreign interest now in Pakistan, especially in this space, is huge. Nice. And it's only just the beginning. If you look at the numbers, it's more than has ever poured into Pakistan before, and it's our duty to be able to make that happen. So I think everyone in this space, when it comes to, there's the cliche name fintech, is the space we're in. I think everyone should be working together and not trying to cut each other off by the knees. The banks and fintechs should be working together, because at the end of the day, it's the average person that's going to benefit from this, and the country will grow as long as we work together and get credit to the person who deserves it and wants it. So let's stop competing against each other. Let's try to work together and really build this for the country to become a better place.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us this morning. CEO and founder of Abhi. Thank you for joining me. We'll catch you tomorrow morning, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, which means that it's riddle time, and it's the sound game, courtesy of Sound Crush. Thank you. Leaving you with some Chainsmokers and Coldplay. May your news be good news.